Begin tonight, though, with a Fox News alert. A bombshell new report from the Wall Street Journal has now exposed a blatant dual system of justice at Joe Biden's Department of Justice. Tonight, we are learning that the Justice Department rejected a federal search for top secret classified documents housed at Joe Biden's many properties. They called off the FBI. No raid for Joey. Joe Biden gets different treatment than Trump. Instead, they outsourced the search to Biden's own private attorneys and Biden's staffers, including many without any security clearance at all whatsoever. Now, in the case of the private attorneys, well, they can now be witnesses in a criminal investigation. And according to Jonathan Turley, who will join us in a moment, quote, the use of private counsel without clearances following the first discovery could itself be viewed as reckless and gross mishandling. But at this point, Biden's DOJ doesn't really seem to care because, quote, Mr. Biden's attorneys had quickly turned over a first batch and they were cooperating. Right. They quickly turned over a first batch 6 years after the documents were taken from their rightful home. Now, of course, the same leniency was never in the cards for Donald Trump. Remember, the former president was cooperating with federal officials, inquiring about documents potentially at Mar-a-Lago. He invited them to his home. He allowed unfettered access to the documents. FBI agents actually were free and clear and went in the room where the documents eventually were found, and they never asked for them even though they were there. Trump then secured the documents with a padlock in that room at their request. And yet, in the early morning hours of August the 8th, a tactical team from the FBI raided Mar-a-Lago, guns drawn, as they searched through Melania's closet and Barron's bedroom. And they left no stone unturned and took whatever they wanted by force, and that would include the president's passport. By the way, the Attorney General Merrick Garland, the FBI Director Wray, they said and bragged about signing off on this raid at Mar-a-Lago. But they were unwilling to do the same for Joe Biden. And by the way, why didn't they tell us when they knew 6 days before the midterm elections? Now, apparently, they want you and all of us to just trust that Joe Biden and his attorneys and his aides are going to do the right thing. But Joe Biden almost never does the right thing. He is a notorious liar with very few principles or morals. He won't even acknowledge his own 4-year-old granddaughter or grant her Secret Service protection. But we're just supposed to take his word for it in this document investigation. Now, remember, it is now well established that Joe Biden, as vice president, met with at least 14 of Hunter Biden's sketchy foreign business partners. He then flat out lied repeatedly about those meetings, denied any knowledge of ever even speaking to his son about his foreign business ventures. Now, of course, Joe Biden was the centerpiece of those ventures, as Hunter admitted in an interview on ABC. Take a look.
In the list that you gave me of the reasons why you're on that board, you did not list the fact that you were the son of the vice president.
Yeah, no.
What role do you think that played?
I think that it is impossible for me to be on any of the boards that I just mentioned without saying that I'm the son of the vice president of the United States.
If your last name wasn't Biden, do you think you would have been asked to be on the board of Burisma?
I don't know. I don't know. Probably not. I don't think that there's a lot of things that would have happened in my life that if my last name wasn't Biden.
In that very interview, he admitted he had no experience in oil or gas or energy or Ukraine or the energy sector at all, or sophisticated investing. Absolutely no experience. Zero experience. Hunter was selling access to his dad. That's called influence peddling. It has a real name. And in 2017, when Hunter was still raking in money from many of these sketchy foreign business partners, a document obtained by Miranda Devine and the Daily Caller shows that Joe Biden was purportedly collecting $50,000 in rent per month at his Delaware home from his own son. Why? Now, it's not Palm Beach, and it's not, Malibu, California. Now, if this is true, and Hunter was actually paying Pops $50,000 a month to rent a room in Delaware, then I think we all know how the big guy was taking his cut. And get this, according to a report from John Solomon, Hunter and at least one of his business associates, they discussed Joe Biden's earnings potential and wealth creation in an email chain titled JRB Future. JRB stands for Joseph Robinette Biden, and apparently the future plans heavily involve the Communist Party of China. Not only did China contribute tens and tens of millions of dollars to the University of Pennsylvania after the establishment of the Biden Center, $67 million in total to the university, $47.7 million once Joe Biden was out of office, but Hunter also scored a lucrative deal with a Chinese energy firm, and that included that $5 million interest-free forgivable loan. This was in addition to the $100,000 shopping spree with the Chinese national. And by the way, we can't forget the multi-billion-dollar sweetheart deal with the Bank of China. No explanation why they didn't go to Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan, Deutsche Bank, or maybe a real firm. So, yeah, top secret documents lying around at the UPenn Center and in Joe's garage and in his library and in his other house. That's deeply concerning. But according to many in the mob, the media, and Democrats, it's no big deal at all. We just have to trust Joe Biden. They only have one true boogeyman in all of this, and his name, when all else fails and the dog bites and the bee stings and you're feeling sad, you gotta blame Donald Trump. Take a look.
And the intelligence community needs to do its risk and damage assessment about how Donald Trump's very reckless handling of these documents might have harmed our national security.
They find the documents, they report it immediately. A far different situation than Donald Trump's. Anybody who says it's not is a political hack.
If the Trump people represented that they'd provided all the classified or national security information and didn't, that's a serious problem. As far as we can tell, that it was inadvertent that these documents were in these locations. When they were discovered, they were immediately provided to the archives or to the Justice Department. There was no effort to hold on to them, no effort to conceal them.
This was not a mistake that these documents landed, at Mar-a-Lago. This is what he intended. And it also, by the way, shows that they really want to get these documents back. And every second that they're at this beach house in the possession of Donald Trump is a risk to our national security.
Well, he should have said, you look, I know I look hypocritical in that tape.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that.
By the way, all those people are all political hacks. Now, luckily, we have an honest press secretary with a very solid grasp of the facts who's committed to transparency. Only kidding. Over the last 2 weeks, Karine Jean-Pierre has sadly embarrassed herself over and over as she has attempted again and again to stonewall the press and has told, let's just charitably call them untruths to the American people. Take a look.
What I can tell you right now is what the president share with you what the president said to all of you, right? Which is he was surprised by this. He definitely, truly respects the process here. And also when it comes to classified, he takes classified documents very seriously. That search was completed last night, and now this is in the hands of the Justice Department.
So we should assume that it has been completed?
You should assume that it's been completed, yes. Right? They completed the search with documents being found last night. I have answered your questions as almost every day on this issue. And again, anything else that you may have, anything that's related to the review, I would refer to the Department of Justice. You guys can ask me this 100 times, 200 times if you wish. I'm going to keep saying the same thing.
Are you upset that you came out to this podium on Friday with incomplete and inaccurate information? And are you concerned that it affects your credibility up here?
Well, what I'm concerned about is making sure that we do not politically interfere in the Department of Justice, that we continue to be consistent over the last 2 years, and that is continue to refer you all when it comes to an ongoing process, and I'll just leave it there.
So obviously, we're not going to hear the truth from the Biden administration in any way. That's why investigations in the House are critically important.